Hello and welcome everyone to Devlog. Been a hot minute since I made one of these. I've started working on a new game using Godot 4 and, well, you'll probably think that I'm scoping too big when I say that I'm making an MMO, or a MMO more likely, multiplayer online game. I've been inspired by MMOs like Tibia and old school RuneScape, and I want to make something combining the two. I'm aware of the mammoth task this is, but I'm kind of tackling it like a hobby project. Something that I work on streams and when I have time. That means I'm not really aiming to have a big release or earn money on this, just for fun. Anyhow, in this first clip you can see me add some background music and animations made by Yanidras. Sure to add some life to the game. I'm quite far, or I'm a bit into the development already, and I didn't actually start recording these clips as I started this. So that's why we're here right now. Yeah. Multiplayer games are difficult. Here's me struggling to update player position on all clients. In the end, I was overthinking the process. I was trying to allow the client to update his position when it should just have the server do all that. I seem to have gotten so frustrated that I forgot to get a clip of me solving it. So moving on. We made the players collide with each other. So originally the collision had me pulling hairs, and it just got worse with me trying to fix it in the client side. My plan at the start was that the player check if a tile is walkable, then send a call to the server to check if something is blocking that tile, and finally have the server respond that a player can walk there. But I could just have the server do all that in the end. Here are the diagonal movements added and final animations for the player character as well. Ain't he lovely? Then I'm trying to make enemies spawn and of course move. Some struggles there as well, but not too bad in the end. At least not for the first way the enemies can move, which is just, well, random. Just picks a random direction and goes there. And a side fix to allow the player to disconnect from the game, and we're back to the enemy. I will do something else a lot in the process, as I allow myself to jump between tasks freely to keep my interest as long as possible. Not the best way to do it, but hey, whatever works. Then I'm trying to make the enemy clickable. Clicking an enemy makes you its target, and then it can either run away from you or walk towards you. Now, for the enemy to follow you or run away from you, I had to bring out pen and paper. That's how you know something requires thinking in game development. I'm quite happy with my solution. At any given time, any enemy or player has only two different move directions, those shown on screen now. So I added all into an array like this. And next I got the direction to the player and simplified it into a direction that exists in the direction array. And that gives both the direction to the player and the direction to move if you want to get closer to the player. Which is the same thing. But in this example we're doing now, we are doing the runaway movement, which is also the first one I implemented. Since we know the direction of the player, we can just take the array index of that direction and add to it half the array size, giving us the direction away from the player and its index. To avoid the array out of bounds error, I made a function that restarts the index from 0 if it goes over, or starts from the largest array index if it goes under 0. Now I have the direct direction away from the player, but it might be blocked. That's why it starts with that direction, then tries with the direction 1 up and 1 below in the array index of that direction, and so on and so on. The least desirable direction is directed towards the player, which will only happen if there are no other directions to move. If there are no direction at all to move, we'll just stand still. Then we use the reverse logic if the enemy wants to hunt the player down. And yeah, took a bit of testing, but I got it to work. Not the smartest, but it works for less intelligent enemies. I also added that if the player is 10 or more tiles away, we stop chasing or stop running away from the player and return to the walking randomly, or idling state as well as called. That's enemy movement done for now, until I make a A-star pathfinding system. Then I started working on player attacking and dealing damage to the enemy they clicked. The only way to deal damage to the enemy is to be within one tile of the enemy to punch it. I got sidetracked again and added a world chat to the game. Took me ages to figure out how to render it on top. The solution was to add a canvas layer as parent node and set that to layer 1. Godot works in mysterious ways sometimes, since ordering didn't actually work for the UI for some reason. Next it was time to kill the frogs and leave behind a pretty corpse. It was all at this point I realized both the player and the server spawned enemies. Luckily it was quick fix. Look at that, suddenly we have graphics. I drew these myself in a program called Aspirite, which is designed for pixel art and animation. Adding some variation of each tile made it look better, and setting a custom seed at the start of the generation, and then putting a random one again after makes sure that all clients have the same type of terrain. The frog and frog corpse also got an overall, which I'm quite happy with. Now the area spawner also tracks how many enemies are spawned and if it needs to spawn more. Infinite frogs for the win! The second to last thing I implemented was ground items. I made so you can move them around if you were one tile away from them, and I also added placeholder code for trying to interact with them. You can also throw around the frog corpses. You do you. And final thing for this devlog is that the name tag changes color depending on how much health something has left. But that's it. That's it for this devlog. I hope you either got inspired or interested in my project. I will try to upload the devlog either monthly or bi-monthly from now on so you can follow the progress. Also to keep you excited, I will inform you that in the next devlog I am aiming to have a functioning inventory system and a A-star pathfinding system. It's two very large systems, but I think I'll manage. But for now, thank you so very much for watching, and until next time, see ya.